Okay, so the title of this video, I'm not sure what it's going to be, but it's about DMT. And so why would a lady like me be doing DMT? DMT is a psychedelic drug. It's in the same family. It's actually the same drug as the psychedelic that's in ayahuasca. It's just not in the same form. Like ayahuasca is the brewed form, and DMT is kind of like a freebase. It's a smoking type of drug. So you smoke it and you get high that way. Um, and why would I do that? I don't know if you've seen my last video, not my last one, but one of my last videos on my dark night of the soul. Some of you who've already started watching my channel, this is a pretty new channel, you already understand that I was grieving for the loss of my dog, Monsieur. When I lost him, a lot of things came crumbling down for me, and I went looking for anything to hold on to not to make it through like the first 6 months, because I didn't want to stay here, and I was trying things. I was trying to get answers from the other side, I guess. I was trying to forget myself and my suffering, but also just heal from, yeah, this intense grief, my PTSD, because I have PTSD, and like past trauma and like my lifelong suffering. I was just trying to figure out, how can I be in this world without my dog? How can I keep going? Because he was really helping me keep going when he was here. So losing him kind of made me feel like I was free falling and needed to hold on to things. And so I went on this like spiritual adventure, trying to figure out if I could find answers and heal myself through these various ways that, I experimented with, DMT being one of them. So I had gone for the ayahuasca. Ayahuasca had not worked. I had been to the Monroe Institute, and yeah, it had been quite an experience, but hadn't helped with how I was feeling and how I was coping. And so I went to Boston, and I with two people I met at some of these spiritual retreats, and we reunited in Boston to try the DMT together. So yeah, so how did my first experience go? So first experience, I took a small dose just to see how my body would react and cope with it. So I wasn't expecting much. The first dose was a small dose. Hold on, I'm just looking for something. I wanted something in my hands here. Okay, so the first dose was small dose, and as soon as I took the hit, I saw the fractals. Like, I'd heard about the fractals, but when I saw it, like, you can't miss it. That's what it is. And it's hard to explain what it is, but it feels like plenty of geometrical patterns aligned in such a way that they overlay onto like physical objects, or they are physical. It's like seeing the building blocks of reality, I guess. Yeah. Geometrical patterns that make up the building blocks of reality. I hadn't really described it that way before, but that's really what it felt like. And so, yeah, so I saw them right away, and they're kind of like visual hallucinations, I guess, but you're in the hallucination. It's all around you. You look to your right, to your left, the fractals are there, the vibrations are there, whatever you're looking at. Inside my body, it felt like when, first of all, I felt I was paralyzed inside my body, like I couldn't move. And then that's how I felt. It wasn't true, because in the next one, I realized I could move. But in the first one, I felt so overwhelmed by the feeling inside my body that I thought I couldn't move and that I was paralyzed inside my body. But yeah, and then it also felt like, if some of you have been for an MRI with contrast, when they start the MRI, if you've had the contrast, you kind of feel like this warm thing enveloping you, like in the belly. You kind of feel like you're going to pee yourself. It's kind of that feeling. Well, it felt almost that way when I hit that smoke initially. So that was my first experience. Lasted about 10 minutes, very short, very simple, just enough to see and feel and understand what it's like. The second DMT trip I took that same day, the next morning. So this was a weekend with these friends. And so the first night, that was the experience. The second day in the morning, we did the DMT, but we did it on an empty stomach, and I should have known that it was going to do that, but how would I have known, right? And so it was a bit bigger dose. Didn't know if I was going to break through or not. Breakthrough is when you go to the other side on the DMT hit. So yeah, so I found myself hit really hard by the feeling of all my energy being pushed to the bottom of my body. You know, like when you have a panic attack, for those of you who know, all your blood kind of rushes down to your legs because your body's trying to flee, you know, run away, and it's trying to send as much blood as it can to the lower part of the body. So it felt that way. It felt like I was going to lose control of like my bodily functions down there. It was so intense, like a panic attack. And yeah, that kind of subsided quickly enough. Good for me, because it was tough on my body. And when it did, it felt like I was floating in this dark void, like maybe out in space. And there were like these wispy purple clouds. And I was just, you know, bathing in this void of darkness and wispy purple clouds. And I kind of played around with that because I noticed that if I would kind of like shift back, I'd be in that void. If I shifted frontwards, I'd be in this reality. We had masks on, right, doing this. And so I couldn't see out. I could just feel that I'm back. So that was my second experience. Just me having a very intense body reaction and feeling the void and feeling how close reality is to this other space you're in when you're on the DMT. But the third experience was really the one that started showing me how experiences can be varied on the DMT trip, like really interesting. And I think I'm gonna have to split this video into two parts. I'm gonna tell you the third DMT trip, but the fourth DMT trip of that weekend, which was the last one, was so intense, so spectacular, like I can't even, it's gonna take a full 15 minutes to talk about it. So I'm gonna put it in the second video. But before I get to that video, the third experience was kind of awesome too, because that evening, in the afternoon of the second day, I took a pretty big dose because I wanted to go further. I wanted to see more. I thought I was ready. I was. But what happened is I had such an extreme experience in the morning that I was kind of nervous about doing it again. And a lot of people that do DMT realize how intense it is. And, you know, I'm not recommending people do this. Drugs are drugs, right? And sometimes it's hard on your body. But yeah, so I'm just telling my story on DMT and what it was like. But it was intense. And I was kind of even scared to do it the third time. It was that intense. And so I asked, as I took the hit and I felt it hit me, I had my mask on. I'm like, oh my God. And it was so intense. I asked one of the guys there, actually, I asked anyone, please, someone hold my hand. And then one of the guys came and held my hand. Because it was that intense, I thought I needed to hold someone's hand like a kid, you know. And so, yeah, so he did. And I saw the fractals and I started seeing energy patterns. And in these energy patterns, the shapes of animals started to appear. And the first animal that popped up was like the elephant animal. And it was so weird because it wasn't like you saw an elephant. It was like vibrations in the shape of an elephant. And I could feel what an elephant feels like on the vibrational level, if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. But imagine if you could feel the vibrational energy of an elephant, how would you feel that? And that's how it felt. It felt like I was experiencing an elephant energy. I could see it. I could see an outline of like waves of energy, and it was an elephant. And then the energy of wherever I was started to shift, and I found myself in kind of like the desert. It was very warm. It was windy. There were sand dunes. I could see them. And then I started to feel like camel energy. And I can't tell you how I know it was camel energy, because I couldn't see the camel. I was in the desert. I felt, because I had just felt the elephant energy, I knew what I was feeling was the energy of an animal, and that animal was a camel. And all I could see was, I was wondering, how do I know I'm feeling the energy of a camel? I couldn't see it, but it felt like it was so close. I even started to question, am I the camel here? Am I experiencing myself as a camel? And whatever vibrational signature a camel would have. It was confusing, but it was me experiencing camel energy. And then it shifted again, and I saw the vibrational signature of a lion, and then finally the vibration of the vibrational signature of a dolphin. And so my whole experience in that third DMT trip was me experiencing the energy or the vibrational patterns or the vibrational signatures of various animals. I had never experienced that before, and so I felt that was pretty awesome as an experience, like to see or to experience. It was really an experience. It was seeing, I saw stuff, there were images, visuals, but it was a feeling. It was feeling something very different from things and how we feel things here in reality. Okay, so those were my 3 first DMT experiences. You can look for my next video. I'm going to be talking about Einstein's loop theory and the multiverse, because my 4th DMT experience on that weekend was pretty awesome. It was me understanding in 10 minutes or less, not only understanding, but experiencing Einstein's loop theory and the multiverse. So I hope you enjoyed that next one. I hope you enjoyed this one. And those were my first experiences back in 2023 on DMT. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next video.